Hey guys, it's Brendan Maynard with Whitetails of New York. Today we're out here on our family farm in one of our clover food plots. And what I want to talk with you guys about is how to go about managing these clover food plots. Uh, right now we're standing in a Whitetail Institute Imperial whitetail clover food plot. And it's something that if you manage it correctly, can last you several years. It's something I've even heard about some people managing it up to 10 plus years. So I want to talk about how we go about it on our farm and maybe how you could improve your clover food plots to last you longer, and also to increase the biomass that it's going to offer. That's one thing I actually want to point out about clover very quickly, is that clover is a great product. It's a great summer food source. However, when you get a first few frosts in that, mid to early October, clover starts to diminish and won't have any regeneration, no new growth after that first few hard frosts. The issue with that is that it does not offer a lot of forage after that time period. It's a great early season crop. Like I said, it's a great summer crop, but it's not something that's going to last you a long ways into the hunting months. So if you're going to have it on your property, I definitely recommend having something off to the side that's going to complement it and that's going to allow you to have that food that's going to last the entire season. Now, a lot of people, how they go about managing their clover food plots is by mowing. It's just the old thought, the old way of doing things. If you have a clover food plot, you have to mow it. That's just what you do. Now, the reasons we don't like to do that, the reasons we are going to start going away from those sort of methods, is because it's important to understand how clover grows. And what deer are actually looking for is obviously all of the leaf growth off of these stems. They're not going to eat too much of these stems because it's going to be full of cellulose. It's going to be high in cellulose and lignin, which is a molecule that they struggle to digest. So they actually are incapable of digesting it without certain bacteria in their stomach helping them do that process. So what they're looking for is obviously the leaf growth here at the end of the stems. Now, unlike grass, clover grows just like a shrub would. It grows from its tips and keeps on blooming out off of that stem, whereas grass is growing from the base. That's why a lot of farmers, what they do obviously is they cut their hay, get the hay off, and the second cutting of the year is going to be the most nutritious for their cattle. And the reasoning for that is because, again, like we said, grass grows from the base. So if you keep on letting grass grow, what it's going to be doing is increasing the overall lignin and cellulose in that grass stem, because as it matures and becomes a little bit firmer, that is going to be harder for those cattle to digest. They have a little bit different system, different rumen. They are capable of digesting those sorts of grasses easier than deer are. Deer do not eat grass. They don't like grass. It's more of a starvation food for them. It's not going to be what they're going to go to unless that grass is obviously extremely small and tender and does not have a lot of that lignin in it. So again, back to clover here. The reason we want to not mow clover, that's the big hiccup here that a lot of people are going to have issues with, is because clover is something that has always been thought of. You have to mow it in order to manage it. Do we mow our clover? Yes, 100%, but we're only going to mow this once a year. As you can look behind me, there is quite a few weeds poking up in and throughout this clover, but we're still looking at about 95% of our clover stand is still good and healthy in here. How we're going to go about managing this is once these weeds start to look like they're about to develop seed, and just before that becomes hard seed and viable seed, that's when we come in and mow this. But we're not mowing this. We're not taking any of the clover or very minimal clover leaves off of here. We're mowing it at max height, that height where we're still going to be skimming off all those weed tops without damaging too much of this clover. Because just like we said, clover is growing from the ends. You are not increasing the nutrition in clover whatsoever by mowing it. The deer are going to do a good enough job coming in here, browsing these tips off, allowing it to regenerate. You do not have to come in and mow it. It's just like a shrub. If you were to keep on mowing back that shrub, yes, there's going to be a lot of new growth off of it. But what you're doing is you're decreasing overall mass that shrub has. And there's a good happy medium in allowing your clover to actually get out into full bloom and to have all this new regeneration come off of it naturally, just by allowing the deer to nip it off. you're going to have a lot more biomass going into the season. And that is clover's biggest downfall, is can it create enough biomass that it can last you a good length of the season after those first couple hard frosts. Just like we talked, as soon as those first couple hard frosts come in, clover's going to diminish. It's not going to have any new growth. And that is why I love clover, but you have to have something else on your property in order to hold the deer all season long. Another great option is some annual clovers. They tend to have a lot more biomass and a lot more aggressive growth rates. So that's just something to think about as we go forward, and as you go forward on your own property and managing your own property. What we can do, and if you're not managing with mowing, I would come in here, and what we're going to do is come in and spray a grass-specific herbicide, clethodim, all over top of this food plot here, and that's going to kill a lot of the grasses. The broadleaf weeds that we find in here are a lot easier to kill and to get rid of with mowing. Grass is a little bit more difficult. It's harder for that to be killed by mowing practices. So that's where that clethodim comes in and really helps out. If you are looking to get rid of your broadleaf weeds in your clover plots, 2,4-DB is a great product. It's something that we use, have used in the past, and had very good luck. That's something, always read the labels with both of those products. A lot of those cannot be tank mixed. The 2,4-DB and the clethodim, that's something that we've made the mistake before of tank mixing, and that will stunt your clover. No, it did not kill it, but it did stun it. It did set it back quite a bit. So make sure you're reading your labels and make sure you're using the right practices when you're tank mixing all your herbicides. So I hope this helped you guys out. It's going to be a completely different outlook than what you're used to seeing. You know, a lot of people say you got to go in there, you got to mow it, you got to keep it short, you know, keep it down to that 4, 5, 6 inch range. What we're trying to do is increase our overall biomass, let that clover really mature, get bigger, really get into full bloom, allow the maximum amount of new leaf growth on it to carry that biomass into the season and hopefully last as long as it can throughout the hunting season. So I hope these tips help you out this coming up season to increase the overall power and the overall effectiveness of your clover food plots. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Whitetails of New York. Be sure to tune into all of our videos for more tips and tactics. And always remember, your success is our success.